So great. Yeah. I was waiting for the last PR to be merged. I can see Shahaf has accepted or approved it. Dro, you had any further questions on?
No. It's okay. So,
Yeah, I approved. I didn't merge it because I was waiting for Yoav and Dror's opinion as well. But I think we can actually introduce
we
it
continue in
because
merge. We're
yeah,
not. Yeah, we are not still in the place. On which branch is it? On which repo?
the spec repo.
Yeah, look, I didn't find it there.
You can merge it as well.
Okay. So it's approved. I don't see any approved PR. Okay.
I approved it, so you can see it.
Okay. It was not ready because. Okay, I'm merging it. February. Okay. So this is in. Okay, but do you have an implementation? You started?
Yeah, we've been working on the POC. It's right now at the stage where we've got the libp2p setup running finally, and we are working on the peer discovery part of it. I had trouble because I upgraded my MacBook, and most of the libraries for libp2p, especially from ChainSafe, were not compatible with the M2 processor. So I had to manually rebuild them and get that working on my machine. That's the reason why it took a while. I can probably give you a better a status update in the next call. At the moment, we have nodes that connect to each other, and we are working on the peer discovery and the metadata setup. So that's where I'll share the branch as soon as it's ready. The code is open source already. It's on the P2P branch right now. I'll share details after this call when it's ready.
Okay. I want to see how it is. Obviously, we didn't have much time to work on it, so
that is where the POC stage is at. I mean, I was off for 2 weeks as well, so I just picked up this week once I was back. I had the question on what Hazim raised today in the other bundler group. So are we saying we are not even, you wouldn't recommend even to have a request response message type for peers just in case, or we let bundlers take a hit even in case it comes and make their own
I don't think it's very hard to. You cannot reliably trust another anonymous bundler. And if it is not anonymous, then we are creating a distribution protocol, but not a decentralized one.
Yeah.
It is great to have a decentralized server, split it over 3 machines, and they all trust each other. You can trust even the validation. You don't need only to trust the reputation, because this trust means I am going to drop user operation based on the static information because some other bundler said that.
I mean,
master isn't valid.
I'm not saying that they have to enforce it. I'm just saying it's more an informational message which a bundler can choose to act upon or not.
Yes. What do you mean to act upon? The information message is what you should. I'm trying to understand what is. I get a user operation. I can validate it, and if it fails, I can drop it. Or the other option is that I get a message that say ignore user operations with this.
No. What I'm trying to say is that each bundler at the moment internally maintains a rank of each of the paymasters, isn't it, in terms of seen and included.
Yes.
I'm proposing that you can query the seen and included of a given paymaster from your connected peer and validate if a given paymaster in that connect peer's opinion is good enough. Or I mean, say assume I'm starting up, I just start off my bundler. I'll have no information about any of the paymasters around, right? So it's just
So
Okay.
I would argue that that's just not good practice, because there's no way to validate that. So we're putting untrusted data into this network with no way to validate that it's correct. And so it's just putting data on there and then saying, hey, bundlers, like, you can use this, but if you do, you can get griefed, right? And it's like, why do you
The
put it
point is
there?
that they will not get griefed. The point is that you are censoring a paymaster.
And that you can censor or get griefed.
This paymaster, he be dragon, ignore him. So you actually, one bundler is actively censoring a paymaster. Just because he thinks this paymaster is not worthy. This is what I don't like about this. You trust another no. And by the way, it's only the scene you need to because the included is something you can read on chain. You can read the user operation for the past day or so, and you will see included. But even that is not enough. Like, even if the paymaster was seen like 1,000 times, it means it can send some transactions. It doesn't mean that the user operations you will now see, you will accept them.
Right.
Could be that he filters by address. Ignore several users or support several users. So you don't know anything about, even if there is included, unless you saw this user operation by yourself in the mempool.
All right, fair enough. So I'll
okay. It means that so the rule is when we are not optimizing for starting a paymaster for the reputation. When a paymaster starts, it starts building its own reputation. If it likes, he is allowed to save this reputation to disk just in case it restarts and it can load its own reputation. Collected it so it can trust it. But other than that, and if you have some distributed network and you're a large provider and you have several bundlers working, okay, it is considered a single bundler. I don't mind if you share information between them, but it is not something we spec.
All right, fair enough.
Just to make it clear, or to add on that, the bundlers should, in order to protect themselves, also include reputation for unstaked paymasters. That is also something that we're going to change in the AP. We can elaborate on why exactly, but there are some attacks that still need to be mitigated. That the bundler is going to probably need to keep track of unstaked paymasters as well.
I'd love if you could elaborate on that. Maybe not right now, but at some time point in this call.
We want to we will document that, because we found cases where an unstaked paymaster can grief the system. So it also should build reputation over time.
Okay. I can actually forward our messages about it. Maybe I'm trying to find what I wrote in the group. But
what is more important? Actually, Shahaf, this owner.
Well, I'm saying it because if they are currently implementing the reputation system, I think it's better to know it in advance.
Yes,
no?
please. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. So, but this is something that we have discussed previously, and I think that we didn't actually add it to the EAP yet. There are several changes, including that we wanted to address. But,
okay. While we are on that, we've noticed that apart from the reference implementation bundler, every other bundler seems to have one failed test. But when we run it locally, they seem to be working. We really don't know what's causing that.
I did look at the output lately, so I need to check.
Yeah, I will look at it tomorrow.
I remember a little skip, but okay, you're saying that. Yes, stack up. Rust has 10 failures. When was the last run? The 20th.
Is this running on the 0.6 yet, or is it still on 0.5?
0.5. Nothing is.
Yeah, that might be the issue. We are going to upgrade, update the test as well, and our bundler, obviously the bundler reference implementation should be updated. So that's the first priority that we have for next week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any further update as such. Hopefully, by the next call, we'll have the P2P reference implementation ready, at least to some bit. I'll keep you guys posted on where we are with that.
Okay.
Any other questions from anyone?
Christoph, hi.
Hey, Christoph.
Do you hear us? Yeah. Christoph?
No, we are
We
not
can't
on.
hear you. No microphone. No?
No.
Only lips moving. Okay,
Okay.
we'll reconnect.
While you are there, oh yeah, he's here. No.
Oh, hey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Hi.
Hey guys.
I actually wanted to ask you, are you working on a bundler right now?
Yes, we are.
On the Nethermind bundler?
No. So we're building a sort of custom implementation, and we're also building in TypeScript, as you might have seen. We're trying to use to sort of support different ecosystem players. We're not just doing like hard hat plus ethers. We're actually using VM at this point, and we're trying to build most things on Anvil. Trying to get some diversity.
No, but actually, what you're saying is that the Nethermind bundler was left behind with the 0.1 maybe version.
Oh yeah,
No,
that's I'm actually up to date with how I think Jorge was working on it previously. I'm not sure about that status.
Because
I think
the reason I'm interested is because this is the only bundler that will be able to support the Gnosis network, if there is one. Unless there is a support within the node of Nethermind, there will be no support for Gnosis.
Well, Nethermind would just have to enable debug tracing, right? And any bundler could tag on to that.
No, because if
you use custom tracer, right?
No, actually, the Nethermind also has the benefits over other bundlers in that it is embedded in the node itself. It was written not as an external, but as an extension to a node. Which actually, actually, I think this is the best place to do it. The reference bundler is written as a standalone because it's a reference, and I wanted to separate things, and all other bundlers tagged along, but because it's possible. But the Nethermind was built the way it should be, and that's embedded in a node.
Yeah, but that would mean EIP, right? Not the ERC mode then.
The what?
Yeah. I mean, it's still an ERC, right? But because it's not like modifying any consensus rules, it's just like a script.
Yes, it's written that way because it's also the first step, though. As we know, we can't rely currently that bundlers will be part of a node itself, but they should run closely together.
I know.
Right.
So
the point
what
is
I thought of doing is, oh, sorry.
No, the point is that for any network, a bundler can run side by side with a node, and even if some of the nodes will support bundlers, it will be okay and it will work. But as far as I understand, Gnosis Safe is different. There are so many nodes on the network, like 10 of thousands or something like that, and they rotate. And it's a proof of stake network, so they are rotated. You can't push bundles into the system if only a small portion, like tens or even hundreds of the node will support it. So the only way to support Gnosis is if the Nethermind node, which is the dominant node on the network, will support it. And once a version that's supported will be distributed among all nodes, only then the Gnosis network will be able to support account abstraction. Did I get it wrong? Is there any other way?
I mean, that's like a very long-term thing that can happen, but like even short or medium term, just having scripts that run on top, it should be fine for like normal transaction inclusion, because transactions can be propagated as they are now, and like only one bundler could be. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like,
look,
I was thinking that it's possible like I see your point when it comes to having it be more like closely related. I was thinking whether it makes sense actually. Instead of my thought process was like, it doesn't make sense to do the actual mempool logic, like execution logic inside the node itself, because it's such a separate thing. However, it can make sense to do the validation. So instead of calling a tracer function, debug trace call onto the node, imagine if the node, all it did is it exposed a separate function called like eth validate user of, and that did validation and said like true or false, like maybe some other things. Like,
custom validation or like a custom tracer function. Yeah, that's possible.
And that's way easier than making it part of a node, because they have to maintain the whole thing as like one bundle.
Yes, but still, okay. First of all, something I keep saying at the presentation, and that even though a bundler is separated from a node, in a real production system,
it cannot be.
It cannot be. A standalone bundler is not viable. If you are a standalone bundler and you send your user operation into the mempool, there are two options. One of them, these are your three options. One of them is that these are your user operations. You created them, you put 0 gas price, probably 1 per transaction. You don't expect to get paid. You just want them to be included. So you put your handle ups yourself. The other option, the other extreme, you are a node, or you have a direct API like MevBoost to a node, and you are included in the next block as the first transaction in that block. And the third option, you are naive and you will get griefed. These are the options.
Yeah.
Because if you create a bundle and put it into the mempool, and if there are any transactions that pay enough, someone will see your transaction, extract the user operation, even one, put it in the old user operation, put a little higher gas, it will get included, you will get included, reverted, and you win nothing. And of course, your user will hate you because all the transaction, except this one that was taken off, will get reverted, will not get included. If all your transaction will get copied to another, they will love you. You will lose money because you pay for the revert on chain, but at least the users will get a transaction included by the other. But you have no guarantee all of them will get included. So there are two options. So you either naive or work directly for a general purpose bundler. You either naive and get briefed, or you work with a bundler. So
specifically on L1. On L1 is the
on every network that there are bundlers in. Okay, L2 behaves a bit different because there's one node sequencer.
So my confusion previously with your question was that like you were talking for instance, I thought you were talking about like normal RPC nodes, but what you're talking about is block builders, right? So block builders and bundlers might not be separable, but block builders and normal nodes.
No, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I meant block builders.
Yeah, okay.
When I said node, I meant the block building node. Yes.
But in theory, it works the same with RPC nodes as well, because none of the RPC providers at the moment expose the debug endpoint. You're forced to run your own nodes when you're running your bundler service as well.
Yeah, they will not expose this RPC API at this level. Maybe they will be able to create a tracer object, like on Get, create a Go tracer object, and they will allow this explicit tracer, because they have to trust it to some level, and the tracer is limited in what it collects. It collects the minimum required information for to create a bundle. Maybe they will expose this.
Right.
I'm not sure. And but then it will not help you. It will help you to test the user operation, but still, anybody can grief you, so it won't help you.
Yeah, that's fair enough. No, the thought process here was to reduce the cost to run a hosted bundler service, because at the moment, a team that's setting up bundler nodes, like StackUp for that matter, even us, we are finding it quite expensive because we have to run both the execution and consensus layer nodes for each of the networks we support, along with the bundler service. And this is very expensive operation for us to run a bundler. So at the moment, there aren't many light nodes available, or rather any light nodes available for us to support the custom tracing ability. So if there is such an ability, then it will be easier for people to spin up their own bundlers and use that to submit transactions.
Look, if you want to submit transaction, through a bundler, it's very simple. Run it in unsafe mode. Don't do the tracing.
Mhm.
Just do simulation and send a transaction, because it is unsafe. Of course it is unsafe. But if you do trace transaction, it is not get any safer.
I agree. Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean.
As long as you send to the parabolic mempool, it is not any safer.
Safer. Yeah.
So we need it only if we can eventually put it ahead of the blockchain. And actually, you know, if you're using MEV Boost,
Mhm.
you can do just the same, because send it to MEV Boost and ask it for not to submit the transaction if it reverts. And it will get chain only if all the user operations succeed. And of course, it will revert if any of them fails. So you don't need. We did it in preparation, yes, to run it as a full node, and then you do the validation separately and do all the opcode checking. But yes, it's forward-looking to make the system robust. But to just play around, run it in unsafe. Just make sure that this flag is called unsafe, and it will be clear that what it does, because it is very unsafe to run it. But for testing, it's great.
Yeah.
Unsafe is fine. I'm not a coward.
No, at the beginning, I wanted to call it something else, like use trace or something like that. And then, no, I want to clearly have a meaning. What does it mean to use this unsafe? The point is that if you don't put unsafe, it doesn't make you safe.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Slightly safer.
That should be the config option. Dash
Yes.
slightly
Dash
safe.
dash unsafe or something like that.
Slightly safer. But I cannot tell whether you're connected to real node or not.
Dror, how do you think this this doesn't apply on L2s at the moment, at least, while there's centralized sequencers on L2s? And so bundler networks do still have at least, well, maybe not the P2P mempool as much, but bundler standalone bundlers still have a usage on L2s,
Actually,
using those conditional endpoints.
Actually, on L2, using the unconditional endpoint, you have a safe bundler, as long as you're on a node, of course. Because if you listen all the sequencer events, so you know all the transaction up to the last one. And when you submit
Well, there's still a little delay. There's a little delay.
Yes, there is a little delay, but only if during this little delay, there is a transaction that breaks your bundle. Only in this case, you will fail this unconditional call. And they already deployed, I haven't tested, so I didn't finish that either, but they claim that they have the unconditional RPC call on Gurley, which means that you have a bundler that have a statistical proof that most of the transaction it will send will succeed. The only case you will fail if a transaction arrived just before you were sending a bundle. And since you see the transactions, if, for example, you see many transactions from a given source that might interfere with your pending user operation, maybe wait a few seconds until this wave of new user operation finishes, so that you protect yourself against such griefing, or send a smaller bundler. You can have a policy to reduce the chance that you will get reverted, like reducing the size of the bundle. This is one of the way you can protect yourself, because this RPC call says that as long as you are like 90-something% successful, it is okay. They will accept you. They will only drop you if your ratio falls too much. You're paying for some transactions. So actually, this is the only network currently that you can put in a production bundler. Which is, sorry, you can put in a production bundle without being a part of the block builder itself, because they have this RPC API. And this RPC API is less useful on other networks that create blocks. It is very useful on Arbitrum since there are no blocks. There is a single transaction blocks. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, quickly, has there been any decision on the grants for the applications for 4337?
Not yet.
Not yet. We are currently reviewing it.
Scanning them, reviewing them.
Okay, fine. Thanks.
So we should get it very soon now. I know it is spending too much.
Yeah, and no further questions or things from me. Unless anybody else has, we can probably end it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. I'll keep you guys posted as soon as we have something working, and I'll share in the Telegram group as well.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
again, if you
Have a
have
nice
any
day, everyone.
suggestion about how to change things, maybe in whether it's the test or you think something's not necessary or wrong in the EAP, just tell us so we can actually get some feedback. I know some things seem a bit redundant, but we had some security considerations behind it. So
Sure.
again,
Yeah, that reminds me. We were supposed to work on the Hive tests for the P2P thing. Is there I mean, are you going to be working on the test scenarios that we need for this P2P interface, or do you want anyone to pick that work up?
yeah, that's something that we also plan to do.
At least
If we
on the
can
group,
get
we spend some high level, and we see how we get. Well, maybe someone will pick it up. Maybe we.
Okay. Sounds good.
The basic test is like, send the user operation to the bundler, and
Handler and
look,
see. Yeah.
if it's simple enough to add to the test to be a participant in the mempool,
Mhm.
and the best way is to send the user operation to the bundler and see that it sends it into the mempool. We expect these APIs and vice versa.
Okay.
If it's more difficult to put it into the RPC test, this is the way to get. Actually, this is the right way to do. Because the other way is more of an integration test, like bring two bundlers and see they talk with each other. And these two bundlers can be any two bundlers.
I thought the purpose or objective of Hive is to ensure that test that scenario, right? The two different implementations of bundlers talking to each other.
Yes. Hive builds an integration
Right.
so that you can build any combination of as many nodes that you like, and it will create a run this test.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was the only thing. Yeah. So yeah, have a nice day, everyone, and we can probably speak later. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.